Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Life with Shenita. Happy New Year. I am so excited to see each and every one of you, whether it is live or on replay. It is, I can't believe that we're almost at the end of the month of January in this new year. We're almost here. However, there's so much in store for each and every one of us. And I want to encourage us to walk in our purpose. At the top of the year, sometimes we're afraid, we're fearful, or what have you, but we have to become very confident in what it is that we know we're purposed to do and not be afraid to fail. There are lessons in failure. And so I want to encourage you, as I encourage myself daily, to keep pushing, keep moving, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep glowing on this journey called life. I was telling someone just a few moments ago, as well as my guest, that I'll be 60 next year. And so, with that being said, as we continue to move through life, life is going to continue. Time is going to keep ticking. The clock is going to keep going. What we do in those years is so vitally important. Don't be afraid. Take the leap, jump, step out, do what it is that you know you should be doing so that you can live a fulfilled life before the end of your life. As always, I want to encourage you all to make sure that your affairs are in order, your houses are in order financially in all areas, not just financially, medically, health wise, mental, all of those areas that you are in a good place and that you leave your family members in an even better place. So, with that being said, at the top of this year, I have an amazing guest that I'm excited to share with Sam, introduce Sam to him. I am a true believer that caring is sharing. He caught my attention on Facebook with his post and his work that speaks for itself. And I said, I have to ask him, would he share a moment of his time with me and with you all about his journey? It is going to inspire you to move forward with yours as well. So I like to ask each of you to like and share this broadcast. Like and share this broadcast because, yes, I'm always going to share people and information, but it's even more powerful when we all share it. So please like and share the broadcast and enjoy this evening's show. I'd like to introduce to you all Mr. Bob Mackey. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. Good evening, doctor.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am well. I am so delighted to have you share this moment, this time with me and our audience. I'm excited about Bob McKay and what Bob McKay has done, is doing, and will continue to do.
Yes, yes. Well, look, hey, as I'm just excited. I'm your first guest of the year.
You are.
Oh
My
man,
first show actually didn't happen because of the tornado.
wow,
2 weeks
wow.
ago. And so you're the first guest of the year. So that's so
Wow.
exciting to me.
Well, I'm honored. And my office was hit by the tornado as well. So it's still a little just it's everywhere right now as far as putting it back together.
Yes.
It's amazing what the elements of wind, rain can do.
I mean, it can destroy a thing.
It can. Yes, yes, yes.
So I'm so glad that we are able to commune and you're able to be a part of the first show of this year. I'm super excited because you truly have inspired me as I've watched you navigate through life, sharing moments and parts of your journey. So thank you for that.
Oh yeah, no problem. I mean, it's I just tell the story of my life and live, and I don't share as much. I'm all. I always have these thoughts, and people say, "What did the quotes come from?" And I say, they just pop in there sometimes, and and I just share them in a way, some, are a little questionable, but it's always something that either will get you moving, get you thinking, and if we can get the mind started, the body will follow. So
Mm. Can you say that again, please?
yeah, if we get the mind started, the body will follow. So just get
Work
people
on the
thinking.
mind.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the mind is. My grandmother used to tell me it's one thing that it's one thing that you can't change, and that's a made up mind.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm on day 3 of no meat, and I've always been a big meat eater. We grew up lots of meat, lots of vegetables, and never ever without meat. And so as I'm continuing to get my health in check, I decided that I was going to scale back on meat consumption.
yeah,
And I'm surprised that I'm doing so well without meat.
yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been on a journey. I go in and out of the journey for throughout the year, and I just had some chicken. I want to say about a week ago, but that hadn't happened since maybe March of last year, I would say. And
Wow.
so I haven't had pork in years. But there's a chef actually on the Urban Chefs of Atlanta. There's a chef by the name of Chef Patrice. She's a vegan chef.
Ah,
And when I tell you her food, you would not think you're eating plant-based anything.
really?
It is, yes. I need to connect you all so maybe you
Yes.
can have her on. And I do
Yes.
believe she has a cookbook, but it's things like she made on the show, she made curry chicken, but she made it out of dragon fruit, right? And it was because dragon fruit, the chicken, I mean, it's just oh my
Amazing.
yeah, it was delicious. And she made coconut rice. She's from
Oh,
Jamaica, and it was
oh.
like, oh my goodness. I've never cooked rice with coconut, and
I've had it before and it is
oh
amazing.
wow,
The
wow,
coconut, the rice, the
yeah,
coconut rice.
yes,
Oh, I
yeah,
would love to talk with her and have her come on and share her journey in this vegan chef world.
yeah.
Urban chefs.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Like she's the only vegan chef on the show, and she has at this point she's been the because normally I don't taste there. I have a foodie who does the tasting, and food queen she does all the tasting. But with this one, I mean the food it was so colorful, and she made plant based lasagna as well, and it was beautiful. So, but yeah.
Wow. We
It's
have
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, we have a few people that chimed in. Paula Myrick and CJ Lopez and Adrian Johnson, who is actually a actress. And she's heard so much about you. She was saying earlier on a post.
yeah,
So she can't wait to connect with you as well. So she's a
yeah.
no meat journey right now. So yeah, please connect us. I would love to talk with her. But let's talk about you. Tell us a little more about the man before we get into the icebreaker, because I do have the icebreaker. But before we get into the icebreaker, tell us a little bit more about the man, Bob McKay.
I would say, I'm just, I'm a young man who wasn't supposed to make it. You know,
Mm,
despite my odds, like I'm not supposed to be here, and I share that with people to set the stage of, who they see, who I was, two different people, absolutely two different people. So yeah, people like me aren't supposed to make it,
mm,
but I did, right? And
yes,
I took those chances and second chances, and I bet it on myself. I placed all bets on myself because I knew one thing about me: I'm not going to let me down, right?
ooh, I love it.
And that's where I stepped outside and said, you know what? I'm going to overcome some of these things. A lot of things as a
Mm,
child that I dealt with, I couldn't help. I mean, the environment that children are born in and the environment in which I was born in, I had no control over. But I knew when I did have control of my life, I could take control. And I had high standards. I'm talking about like high standards, just of what I wanted to see, where I wanted to be, the things I wanted to possess, and the type of people I wanted to be around. And
Mhm.
so, without getting in too much, that's who I was just a young boy that wasn't supposed to make it, who became a man of service, gratitude, appreciation, love, and support. That's who I am. It's either it's hard to beat a guy like me, because I'm gonna make sure, if we're on team, the same team, wearing the same color jerseys, I'm gonna go hard for us, right? And like Art Williams said, is that I'm against anything that's not wearing the same color jersey.
I
So
love it.
for me, it's making sure that I'm service oriented and mission driven, around there.
I love that. And this the service unto others, that tells me what kind of heart you have. And anyone who has a heart of service, we know they are caring individuals. They're going to continue to move forward and take care of other people as well as themselves.
Yeah, all my friends are servant leaders. If you're not a servant leader, we can't connect. We don't gel. I don't dislike you, but we're not on that level. Like, all of my friends are service first. When we show up to any event, we don't ask where's my seat. We ask how can we serve. That's the
That's
difference.
me. That we are kindred spirit. And oh, we yeah, we're kindred spirits because I'm a service leader.
That's right.
Service. So thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure someone out there can relate to that heart, that movement on this journey. So with that being said, you're from
I'm from a small town called Center, Georgia. It's in Nicholson, Georgia. Nicholson is the right next to Center Nicholson. One red light. I think, when I was growing up, we had a Dollar General. No, it was called the Dollar Store. I do believe it wasn't the Dollar General then. It was the
Mhm.
Dollar Store. And I think now they have two Dollar Generals. I do believe. I think one of them closed. That tells you how small
of a
the
town it is.
if a Dollar General can't survive, it's not enough people in it. But so Jackson County, Georgia. Most people know Jackson County is the outlets. You have Tinger outlets, Commerce, Nicholson,
Got you.
Jefferson. All of those small towns. I think we're one of the largest counties in Georgia when you look at landmass, right? We're one of the ones who have a true east and a west side of the county, because it is such a large county from there. And then eventually we moved to Athens, and I moved with my dad, my stepdad, and basically how I got with him was he and my mom was separating, and in many ways they were breaking up, and he looked at me and he looked at my mom. He said, I'm leaving, but I'm taking him with me. You know
And
what I
how old were you at that time?
think I was like 7, maybe. I mean, I was, and I'm caught between, like, okay, so do I go? Do I stay? Because mom, your mom, but this guy just made a pledge, not knowing, like, I'm not his biological son,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
he just saw the conditions that I were in, and he would always tell me. He said, that day I knew you were destined for something, and if you would have stayed there, it would have been detrimental to your destination. So
Wow.
it's I think him, and I even named our son after him as well. So it's a long story on top of that. But Center, Georgia, Nicholson, Georgia, moved to Athens, and currently I'm still in Georgia.
Awesome. So let's break a little ice.
Yeah, let's do.
So my icebreaker was describe the color yellow to someone who is blind.
Hmm.
So if you had to describe the color yellow to someone that had no sight, what would you say to them?
Well, number one, it's bright and solid. I've never seen a yellow that appears to be weak in a sense. Yellows are very strong.
Mhm.
It's bright. It radiates. It multiplies its reflection, and you can see it there's no and I've never seen anyone confuse yellow with any other color. Yellow is yellow,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
From that end. And so description, just an enriching, flavorful, type of color. And yeah, that's what I can give you right there.
I love it. And yellow is a signature color for my Life After the Rain program or ministry. And it's because it illuminates, it gives life. And so it's bright. You can't
Wow. Yeah.
you can't miss the person when they're in yellow.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. You can't.
You
Yeah, that's
cannot miss them. So that's good. I like that.
yeah.
So when you think about purpose, because I know you're a film producer, and I know you would share with the audience how long you've been in this industry, but when you think of purpose and you think of what you're doing,
Hmm.
what does purpose mean to you, and how did you end up on this path as a
Yeah.
film producer?
A good question, right? Because my background is so diverse. But when I think of purpose, I think of peace. And
Mm,
normally you find peace in your purpose. Whether it's a lot of commotion, but it means we can wake up and do it all over again. Like it
mhm.
doesn't matter what's in front of you. If something's behind you, you're there. You're in the middle of it. And purpose is, there's an old saying that if you find what you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life, right? That's an old saying, but I always tell people, if you find the thing you love to do, you're going to work even harder every day of your life.
Oh, I love it.
But purpose keeps you going. It keeps you connected. It's like the root of why. And knowing your why and purpose are two different things for me. But I just believe peace can be your peace can be found in purpose. From
Mhm.
there, and my purpose was a storyteller. So regardless of the film, film is just an avenue, a vehicle to share the story. I've always been a storyteller. I mean, I've always been attracted to stories. Even listening to my relatives talk on the porch in Jackson County when it rains. Used to go out. Used to have these rocking chairs, and
Right,
everybody came outside of the house, and everybody told stories.
right,
Whether good, bad, or indifferent, and
right.
you painted a picture. It paints that picture, and the motion picture is brought to life by cinema. So connecting the dots, scene by scene, understanding what connects people to that storyline, or how do you put people in a place they've never been, but they don't realize that they're watching someone who's acting to tell this story. I mean, that's how I look at film, but film is just the avenue and the vehicle to do that. Storytelling always have been. I remember watching my grandmother watch the soap operas, right?
Yep.
And she used to watch soap operas. She used to watch after the soap operas. Either it was at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, or 4 o'clock. May have been 2 o'clock, but Dallas came on. I don't know if y'all remember
I
Dallas.
remember Dallas.
So Dallas came on, and it was what's the guy's name? Victor. Was it Victor? Jr.
They are. They
Yeah,
are hewing.
yeah, Jr. Right?
Hmm.
And she would always talk about, like, and she never met this guy, and she would always talk like stories about Jr. And I'm like, man, what is it? And
And
then
it seems so real, right?
yeah, yes, it does, it does. And so, but storytelling has always been a powerful method of emotional pictures
Yes.
that's connected through words. And that's what I've had a gift of gab in many ways, but also a gift of connection with people. And words, it's not that they 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 find you sometimes when you need them most, but a good word, it hits you when you don't know you need it the most.
Mhm.
From there, and people can speak to you in many ways and verbalize many things, connecting just with the power of storytelling.
Yes. And when I think of storytelling, I think of sharing testimonies. Um, and even depictions like you do, film. Sometimes they're based on true life, true stories or true life experiences. But I think of sharing testimonies and how powerful they can be, which is storytelling.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It is. Yeah. So, and especially in many cultures, And I think of the natives the most, right? The rain dancing and the tribal behind it was all the storytelling piece, and it keeps people connected to that purpose or that history or that cause sometimes. So, but yeah, it's a powerful method to be able to display, and sharing a story is just one of the most pleasant things when a person can do it so well and people can do it so well. It's beautiful. One of my most favorite moments in school was story time in the library, right? Because it's watching this lady go into a book, and then you realize you don't realize she's reading any longer, right?
Right.
She's put the book down, but the story still exists. So
Yes, it's still ringing in your head, in your mind.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and sometimes you can retell it.
Yeah. Oh
You're
yeah,
not
big,
even looking in the
big
book.
time. Yes, yeah, big time. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So that yeah, purpose is so important. And um ending up in on this path, what took you there? Like, was it a particular something that happened in your life, or was it just a decision to say, this is where I'm going now?
So I've always been an underdog, and see, with underdogs, sometimes you're left to tell your own story, right? Until you get enough clout and wherewithal to, unless it's told for you, for you know. But for me, being the underdog, giving people ideas of, hey, I want you to film this, or I got an idea about this, and people don't, they have their own path, and I could not get anyone to entertain my stories. And I say, you know what? I'm just going to film them myself. So one of my methods that I use in anything, of people ask, how did you get where you are now? And I say, really, and this is the honest truth, I learned to do the things people complained about doing, and I got good at them. That's all I did,
Mhm.
whether they were doing them for somebody else, whether they were doing them for me, but they complained about that very thing I wanted to learn about. And if I want it, I'm going to study it. And how do I study it? I adapt the method and a process and pay you to teach me. So therefore, I can continue and produce my own content when I need to. And that's exactly what happened.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you've been doing it for how many years now?
So I'm new to filming. Or I'm new to, as they consider, the industry. So
Mhm,
my company is only 11 months old, 10 months old.
mhm,
So
mhm,
I'm very new, but I've been a storyteller for a very long time. As you were mentioning about you and fundraiser, well, I'm a
mhm.
professional fundraiser as well, and a part of,
Awesome.
yeah, you
The
have.
Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, definitely. That's what, most people say, hey, I'm the chief officer, right? No, I'd say
Yes.
I'm the chief fundraising. I don't care how you put the title, the larger the title, the more responsibility to
Right.
raise dollars from that end. So, but yeah, it's a part of storytelling. And one of the hardest things to do in fundraising and anything is to convince people who've worked for something to give it to you. That's one of the hardest things.
Yes,
So
indeed.
time, energy, or financial resources. And that's what we do every day. But storytelling makes it a lot easier. It
Yes,
makes it
it
a lot
does.
better. It makes it believable. There's this guy, Simon, I believe, he always says, people buy what you believe in, not what you sell. I'm not selling the, the story, right? I'm selling the belief, that if I can get you to believe this story of change, you're going to make a decision. I never tell you how much, I never ask you for a dollar amount. I tell you how much you need, and allow the process to take hold, and you
Yes.
make that decision on how to support or whatnot. But that's another conversation.
Yes. That's good advice. That's good wisdom that you just shared there.
Thank you. But yeah,
So,
I'm new to filming. I'm
mhm.
really
So, and I said that in the advertisement for the show, 10 months. And so tell us the name, or the audience the name, and maybe a little bit more about what you have produced. I know the Urban Chefs.
Yes, yes. So Heartland Media and Films is my production company. And so I have productions in the works. So most people, I got on the scene with Oscarville, the television series, and Oscarville is about the black town beneath Lake Lanier. Well, the overall world for film and storytelling, there was a gap between historical facts about Lake Lanier and the trend of what people consider to be either haunting, scary, or whatever it is, right?
Yes,
So I
yes.
wanted to bring the truth to that, whether good, bad, or indifferent. Well, there's a black town on the Lake Lanier, but who were they? Right? Just being a black town doesn't qualify. It doesn't qualify. What is it? Who are they? Let's learn about the people. Because
Mm-hmm.
if we can share and connect who the people, now we're dealing with people opposed to a myth. And now
Yes.
we have more meat to go for the historical books. And when we talk about land, okay, they took their land, but whose land was it? Okay, what was the significance of their land versus the land 10 miles, down the road or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did. I was able to bring um, the film to life, and that's what most people know Heartland Media Films for is Lake Lanier, and I had partnered with Mad Scientist Productions, and I also Glenetta Griffin, we're
Yes.
on this path with Heartland and the Oscarville, the television series now. And so right now I have the Urban Chefs of Atlanta, and it's all about black chefing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is because
Mm-hmm.
there's a culinary void when we look at black chefs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you look at, okay, where did it exist? I had so many questions because when we talk about chef, there was such a level of prestige when we spoke about chefs. When you see a chef, and but I noticed when we talk about black chefs, that same level in many areas, and it didn't mean the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to bring light to black chefing, and Urban Chefs of Atlanta does that. It brings urban chefs and sharing, as I mentioned, about their eclectic styles in the kitchen, and then it also focuses on the history of black chefs, the music while cooking, and how that energizes certain hand movements while you eat the grits,
Yes,
right?
indeed. Because I
So
love music and I love cooking. So it's a great blend.
yeah, the chicken fries better when Al Green's on, right? So yeah, so from that, and then I also have a real estate show called the Blind Deal Atlanta, and that is a black real estate show too, to focus on the market or the industry. I have a diverse portfolio. I have an Unto You series, and it's about it's a love story. Um, Black lady finds love in the area of a white male, right? She never thought she would do, but when she realized she was looking for love, color no longer what
Existed.
was I mean, it didn't
Wasn't a
exist.
barrier.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't a
it wasn't. So, and that was the thing in the film. Arla was, what do you really want? Well, what she's really wanting and what she's seeing, she's not getting. It's not matching up. So, but Unto You and Arla and Special Kind of Love, that's another one. I also have a mafia film that is somewhat of a true story, based partially on a true story, but it's about a young couple and a family business. The grandfather, and in the mafia, the grandfather, it passed on to the heir, which is normally the son. Well, in this case, the son somehow disappeared and vanished, and the grandfather gave the son an ultimatum because he found out the father was molesting the daughter and beating the mother. So he said, "You either leave or we'll have you killed." So as the grandfather passed away, he left the family business to his one and only granddaughter, and that's against the rule book, in a sense.
right.
That's against the rule book.
Right.
But he left a rule sheet that she had to run the family business by this rule sheet, right? And it's 8 rules, and some things she agreed with, some things she didn't agree with. Right from there, and she had a driver, so she inherited his driver, and so his driver was always used to, shoot now, ask questions later,
Right.
and she's tried to reframe him and retrain those thoughts because he's fighting the deaths of all of these people he's killed for his boss man. So now she's in that position. She was like, "Hey, we don't kill." because he's like, "Do you want me to handle it?" And she was like, "No, we can handle it." So she's trying to rewrite the narrative
Yes.
of how to own the community, and meanwhile, she somebody's trying to kill her, and she comes to face with this guy that she never saw before, trying to kill her, and ended up being her father. And her father felt that she was the reason why he was pushed away and pushed out of the life of his daughter and family. But it's a mafia short series.
Wow.
It's definitely a good one for sure.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah, and then I got another one that I'm highlighting, a unique singer that has dedicated so much to the history of love and R&B. I can't say who it is right now,
Right.
but I'm gonna let you see it after the show, and
Okay.
then maybe you can comment and talk about it just a little bit.
Okay.
But overall, so we have about six different productions, and we have Immersion, and these are all films, and some I'm pitching to networks, some like Urban Chefs of Atlanta, The Blind Deal Atlanta, and a few more. Those are being pitched to networks
Good.
as we speak, from that end, and all good quality, good content, and it's just a way to story tell with impact. Real stories, real people.
I love it. I love, and you can be so creative.
Yes.
And I heard you say, when you went to Lake Lanier and you wanted to know more about this haunted place, right?
Hmm.
And this black town that's underwater.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Yes.
who were these people? And I hear that all the time. I hosted two 2 years back to back, 2016 and 2017 at Lake Lanier on one of the yachts. And I would oftentimes hear people say, "You're going to Lake Lanier? I'll pass."
Yeah. Yeah.
Although each time I did sell out for the event, but that was always the reoccurring comment about Lake Lanier.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
never did the research on that. So it's amazing that you said, let me go deeper.
Yes, and Jackson County is a neighboring county of Hall County and Forsyth County. Forsyth County alone has so much history, and I don't know if people and the viewers may be aware, may not, but Forsyth County was a pivotal staple, and still is, for the civil rights era and civil rights movement. Think about when Hosea Williams, when he went,
Mhm.
because on record in Forsyth County a certain year, there was only one black person on the census on record living in the county, in which we know that was not true. So Hosea
Mhm.
Williams went up to say, "Hey, what's going on? We're here to fight
Mhm.
for our brothers and sisters." Well, he was combated with rocks and everything, hauled off in the paddy wagon. They put together a second march, which included Coretta Scott King, Jesse
Mhm.
Jackson, Dick Gregory, Hosea Williams. There was a few more that were instrumental and a part of that march itself. But
Mhm.
that was the spark in Forsyth County, January 25th, 1987. They had over 22 to 25,000 people there, and MARTA provided the bus shuttle services. From you had people driving out from out of state. They would land in Atlanta, go to Atlanta, and they would dispatch bus NAACP. They bartered buses, however it happened, from MARTA, and they drove everybody north to Forsyth County. And that's where you see that march. And that's where Oprah did her notable show on race relations. And when she went to Forsyth County, they called them sundown towns. And the reason why is if the sun, you had to be out of the town before the sun went
One
down.
went down.
Yes,
Or you
yes.
were in trouble.
Yeah, or you're in trouble. You don't make it past those county lines, you'll never
Mhm.
be out.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
either hide until the sun comes back up and move on, or you do your best to fight past freedom. But it's so many things that came out of that. Oscarville, Gainesville, Georgia. When we talk about Gainesville, poultry capital of the world, well, a
Mhm.
lot of the residents from Oscarville took refuge in Gainesville. And think about, so the poultry industry really jump started from Oscarville, landed in Gainesville, and
Mhm.
still producing as the number one poultry lot, that supplies poultry to the world. And
Mhm.
it's but it started from there. There's so many things that started, from the agricultural standpoint. And Lake Lanier, as we know, the land itself in masses, a
Mhm.
lot of the land with the most expensive property on it, that was considered Black land, and it was taken through adverse possession. Adverse possession is you abandon it for so long, I take care of it, it's mine in a
Mhm.
sense. And there
Mhm.
were so many trails of the courthouse burning down twice. The reason why they say allegedly that the first time they didn't burn all the records, so they tried to do it a second time, and that's why it was a little box of records. And we show that in our
The film.
yeah, in the film. And episode 1, we kind of allude to that, but it goes a lot deeper. And it's just a beautiful story. But I wanted people to understand that we're just not talking about a place, we're talking about people who could have
Mhm.
changed the world.
Mhm.
uh and it's a lot of connection there for the rest of the world. So I don't want to take all the time talking about that.
Right. But
It's
that's a good history leading into Black History next month.
Yes, yeah, oh yeah, Black History
Yes.
Month. And we know that Black History started off as a day. You remember that, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
going
Yes.
on. So we celebrated 365 days of the year.
365
Like
days a year.
Anita Baker say, we want that same old love, right?
That's right. Same old love. Yes. Yes. I'm a proud Black woman.
Yes, yes, yes. That's
Proud.
right. That's
So
right.
I'm just excited, to have you share your knowledge and your experience and your journey. I know you're working on multiple projects. So how do you, as a film producer, ensure that you stay on schedule?
It's really not about managing schedules, it's about managing people, right? You one thing that I've stopped doing a long time ago. I used to be a big advocate about motivating people, right? And this is in the workplace, this is everywhere. And so what I've started to do in my life was, instead of trying to motivate people, hire motivated people. So that way you don't have to spend the time on those people, you spend the time on the production.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
what I learned to do, because you're trying to manage a schedule, then you got to try to manage personalities. You got to get people who are ready to show up to work, right? Even if they're not ready to show up for work, they respect that you've paid them to do a job and they're ready to show up to do it. You
Yes.
don't have to spend time motivating. You thank people for being there. You've compensated them, you fed them, they have the vision, and you got to let people work. If this is a scene, we got 5 minutes for this scene. We know that everybody, in order for, we know lighting takes a little longer to set up.
Mhm.
Well, the sometimes gaffers, or either myself, that's one of the first things we take out, and that's why we set up, lighting in a sense from that end. From
Mhm.
me, there are multiple ways to do it, but we set it all up in case we need it. If we're going to use 5 rooms, we go ahead and position our lights in all 5 rooms, and we can adjust it as we go. So
Mhm.
we try to plan out the day ahead, but I try my best to manage the person to understand that this is your role, these are your parameters, right? If we see something that needs to be done, say it needs to be done,
Mhm.
right? Doesn't matter whose role it is, somebody bring it to the attention, and then I'll troubleshoot that. So my job as a producer is safety first. Let's run safety. I don't care how great the picture looks. If people don't feel comfortable, if people are not safe, it's going to show in the eyes of the lens. So let's get the
Mhm.
safety component, correct. Let's make sure that we understand that, how each role complements one another in our movements. It's like dancing. If I
Yes.
take 2 steps to the right, if you're not moving, that means you're automatically 2 steps to the left,
Yes.
automatically. So we
Yes.
have to learn to move in sync, or if not, we're going to end up dancing, away from each other. And the
Mhm.
goal is to dance from A to B, and that's how we normally, position that. So yeah, manage people, hire motivated people, and hire people who have a track record of execution. Just because you can do a job, it doesn't mean you can execute.
Mm.
People think, oh, I could do that job, but can you close this
Right.
deal? Like, oh, I've had many transactions, yes, but how many successfully closed.
Right.
Don't talk about, oh yeah, well, yeah, we've done this and we've done that. Resume is only good for when it happened. It shows me the past. That's
Yes.
the thing with data. Data, people get so hung and they get so motivated by data, but data only represents the past, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Bring a present standpoint of what you can do to help contribute to that. But this is a new day. You got to produce 100%. And what worked yesterday, the conditions may not be suitable for that same type of skill. So advanced skill is necessary in what we do. So execute for sure.
Yes, that's good. I'm sure someone, Cammy, McCluster said, "Woo, that's good." Executors.
Hey,
Yes,
Cam.
and I
Hey,
love,
you.
you know, Cam.
No, I don't.
You need to meet Cam. Cam is amazing too. Um, but you're right. Highly motivated people
Mhm.
who can buy into your vision
Yes.
and understand their contribution so that you can accomplish the goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to develop and you got to have people around you who have options, right? And one thing I love about options is this. The reason why options are so important, and I'm just going to say it one time, options are so important because of this reason. People treat you better when they know you have options, right?
I'm gonna drop the mic.
That's it.
They do. They treat you better when they know you have options because you
Yes.
can walk away from them.
That's right. And the power of knowing how to do it yourself is my option.
I
I'm
love it.
I'm hiring you for two things: to do something that I can execute and move on to something else and to get the job done. And the second thing I'm hiring you for is to learn from you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So, in your opinion, what in your opinion is the most important quality that a film director or producer should possess?
Patience.
Patience
Patience.
is a virtue.
Because that, when you look at things, everything's not going to go as planned, right? Somebody's going to forget something, somebody's not going to arrive on like you got to have patience and the
Mhm.
ability to adapt. And truthfully, because I've been on sets before, you walk into a place and you book the venue and then you go in and this is everything we need. And let me tell you, this is a true story. Everything we needed, we secured the location for filming. Everything was there. I said, hey, we need this in the shoot, this in the shoot, this in the shoot. You can remove A, B, and C. Well, with it already being there, you cut down on time, right? And with time, everything on set, from a producer standpoint, you manage time because time is money, right?
Mhm.
Film
Mhm.
time, when you pick up cameras, it's money. So I walk into the venue that first day, getting ready, thinking, okay, we can start shooting in 45 minutes. They had removed everything out of the building. So all of the props, yeah, all of the props, everything you can think of was out of the building. Even the lights that were positioned that we were going to use for stage lights, out of the building. So at that time, you got to think and that was when I was shooting with a heavy crew, right? Before I took it down, lowered my crew level down a bit. I was shooting with a heavy crew, so I had two cameramen, I had a gaffer, I had sound, I had a PA, I had all of these people. We walk in, the set's empty. So at that time, you really have to have patience, number one, and you got to be able to adapt and pivot. We
Mm.
came up with a plan. You got to figure out what can this work for, right? And you got to be able to call the play, because if you don't call the play, everybody's huddling up in
Yes.
their own huddle, thinking about, oh, we
Yes.
should do this. And the worst thing you can do is to have a lot of people who think they can make a decision about what we should do,
Right.
right? So you
Exactly.
call the play. I got a lot of plays in my playbook, but I got three good plays. The first one is called Ohio, right? Ohio,
Uh-huh.
an acronym. It stands for only handle it once. Okay, if I
Mm.
call Ohio, that means I'm only going to handle it once, only handle you once, etc. It can be the noun, person, place, or thing. If I call Ohio, it's only handle it once. Number two, I call a Tom Brady. and this is what something I heard from a football player, but he said Tom Brady is, if you still have time left on the clock, you got time for a comeback, right?
Ooh,
So that's the, that's the play. And then I got another play which we're in Atlanta, and and this
I
play,
like it.
it's called the Falcons, right? If I call the Falcons, that means we're blowing it, right? That means we had the lead. And it's not, and I love my guys. I got
Right,
some friends who play for the team. I got some friends,
right.
but it's that means we were ahead and now we're behind. We're losing it. We've blown our lead because of somebody has given up the lead. And you just don't lose the game at the end of the game, right? The game is lost as you're playing the game, right?
Mhm,
Most people
mhm,
say, oh, he missed a field goal, but I said
mhm.
that didn't lose them the game.
Right.
The game was lost when the first field goal was missed. They needed 6 points, not 3, right? They
I love it.
lost 3 in the third quarter. But anyway, I know I'm
That
taking
is
it a
so
little.
true. That is so true, though. These are great points.
Yeah. So
So,
that's
do
that.
you brief your crew like when you start at the beginning? Say you got a new crew, just
Mhm.
hypothetically. Do you give them the plays and say, understand, here is how I operate. Here are my plays I use. Here's how I define them. And
Mhm.
here's what you need to be aware of as we're moving through or navigating through this production.
Yes. So for me, I give the vision. We have our table reads. We go through all of that. I shoot with a very lean crew now. I'm on camera. Some days it's just me with camera, sound, lighting, right? Some days I'll have Jordan, which is we'll have camera, sound, an additional second cam, or we'll have Eddie. We'll have Eddie Flow. So but they understand the vision. They understand the mentality. They know the script, and their role is to keep things moving, right? Be 2 steps ahead of me.
Mhm.
Okay, if we're going to transition to a scene to where the actress has to walk from the left side of the stage to the right side of the stage, let's not position the camera, or the mic already on the left side of the stage. Why? Because you have to now move the mic and readjust. I mean, so you just waste time right there.
Mhm.
So you give them the vision, but one thing that I found that was very helpful is for me to understand how they work, right? Because in the conditions of an environment, it's not dictated by the one who controls the environment. It's dictated by the ones who are operating in it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because the
Mhm.
environment, I can't tell you, my job is not to make you happy. My job is not to make you feel complete. My job is to create an environment of happiness and completion so
Yes.
you can utilize your skill set and you can maximize that in the environment. Now we all can flourish.
Woo.
Yeah.
Can we bring that message to work environments?
Oh yeah.
To,
That
ma-
that's
to managers, can you bring that?
Oh yeah, that's all inclusive. That's a,
Yes.
it's yeah, and from the standpoint, and I even tell my employees this is that you never know who your boss is going to be. Be kind to everybody, but you got to realize is that just because you see it, they may only hear it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So seeing it and painting the vision, everybody's not, even you can paint the vision, they may not see it. They're not visually connected and learners, right? So you got to find ways to bring the vision to life by all means. And that's why it's so critical. And I love it in the and I can't think if it's the army or one of the branches, but they do uh we do it on set too, where we copy, and instead of saying do you understand, it's copy that, right? That
Mhm.
lets me know you understand.
You
Copy that.
understand?
I get
Yes,
it. I copied it. It's there, right? And for me
I got it.
it's yeah, I got it. and
Mhm.
and we got to make sure people understand it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
with your skill and the knowledge of understanding, we can move this thing. Now there's a level of comprehension that you must have. I was talking with a friend earlier. We were talking about common sense ain't so common, right?
It's
You
not.
you got to be able to just, you can buy book sense, right? But it's only going to be applied to book in situations,
Hello.
right? And that's where common sense and the ability to have what I consider are high dollar skills, right? You have high dollar skills, you'll always be employed in the top 10% of whatever it is you do. If you don't have high dollar skills, you're going to always be in a low dollar market, right? You're always going to
That's right.
have what they consider a job. A job, we know what it stands for, just over
Just
broke,
over
right?
broke.
And with those non-high dollar skills, you're going to be just over broke doing the bare minimum with a skill that you partially already have obtained from that end. So I just make sure that we are high value, we're high functioning. That way we can create and hit a high target because that's what we're aiming for, right?
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. I love it. That is on point. And so I know we're closing in on our time, and I could talk to you for hours. But because time is of the essence and very limited, I know you and I kind of shared a little bit about Shark Tank.
Yes,
Do you
yes.
mind sharing just a snippet with the audience about your experience with that?
Yeah, I don't mind. Hey, I was, my business partner and I, we were on season in 2021, Shark Tank. We walked away with a deal. The guy that I remember as a teenager spending my last $20 on buying a FUBU shirt ended up being our partner in a business, right? The
Isn't that
Yono Club.
awesome? Is
Yeah,
that
it
not awesome?
is. Yeah, I remember I was like, man, I gotta buy this FUBU shirt. Yeah, I gotta have a FUBU shirt, right? That
It
was
was
it. Like,
very popular back in the day.
yeah, oh, big time, big time. So,
Mm,
I always tell him I took a chance on him, and he ended up taking a
and a
chance on
chance
us
on you.
from that end. So we have the Yono clip. We appeared on Shark Tank. It was an gym invention. I was in the gym working out, tripped over a bag, and I always thought, I said, well, hey, can I we got to get this up. This is a safety hazard. The guy was like, yeah. I was like, whatever. Okay, can I create something? So I ended up, while I was working out, I traced out something, I drew something, and I started envisioning what would I want to this thing to look like, and how could I make it work? What does it need to look like? I have the same drawing on the napkin, and basically it ended up being a hit, right? It's called the Yono clip. You can go to yonoclip.com. It holds non-porous, it holds attaches to any non-porous surface horizontally or vertically. When you look at it's a modified suction, but what's so different is we reverse the mechanics of a suction cup. Normally, you push a suction cup
Mhm,
in for it to
mhm,
suction. We
mhm.
figured out how to pull it out to
Wow.
suction, which creates an additional pocket of force that holds more objects for an extended period of time. And it's a temporary solution. So if you're in the bathroom, you're in the airport, you don't want to put your bag down, your purse, you just pop your Yono clip out. It's already attached to your purse. It hangs on the wall. You get your stuff, take care of your business. If your kids, instead of putting a book bag on the floor on the desk, they can take and pop the Yono clip on the desk. If you're in the gym working out, while you're right there in the mirror, you don't want to put your bag down or your phone down, put your Yono clip out. It can, attach it on there, and your stuff stays in front of you the whole
Wow.
time. So
I
it's
love it.
yeah, yeah. So we ended up getting the deal. The deal was 150,000 for 30% of our company. We ended up with Damon John, and it's been history. So I can
I
say that
love
my
it.
business partner is the founder of FUBU, who took $60 and made a $6 billion company from there. So yeah,
What
yeah,
a story.
yeah.
What a story. What an inspiring story. Man, I am so super proud of you and honored to talk with you, to meet you, and to share you, more importantly, with the audience.
Yeah, it's I always tell people, I did pretty good for a high school dropout.
Yes,
Like
yes.
once again, I'm the kid who wasn't supposed to make it, but I didn't give up, and that's the difference right there. Like I'm gonna go for it, and whether you with me or against me, I'm going for it, and
Oh,
I'm gonna
goodness.
get it. It doesn't matter who's in the room. And I remember even with the film, my vision was so big. With the film, I had a guy who said, who do you want to play in your film? To me, he was challenging my vision, right? I said, you know what? I said, I'm gonna have this person, I'm gonna have Oprah, and I'm gonna have Denzel, all of this. So
Right.
he was like, Denzel. I said, yeah. I said, I'm gonna have a meeting with Denzel. That was my vision, putting it out to him. I said, I'm gonna have a meeting. I put it on my pitch deck and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I said it, and maybe 6 months later, I was sitting down in front of Mr. Denzel Washington, just sitting there,
Is
like
that not awesome?
yeah. And I didn't want a thing, I didn't show up to ask for anything. I showed up to say thank you because a guy like you gave me enough inspiration to let me know it can be done.
It
You
can
know,
be done.
and that's why. And hey, he was talking, and I just gathered it all in. And one thing that I realized is that anything's possible,
Yes.
right?
Anything.
Anything's
Anything.
possible.
And
Any,
when we put it in the atmosphere,
yeah,
it manifests.
that's right. That's right. That's
I'm
right. Yeah,
looking to
it,
meet
it
Oprah
does.
one day. I'm looking to
Yeah,
meet her. She
yeah,
inspired me in the 80s. And
yeah.
so I'm looking to meet her.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yes,
there, and we can't be. Some people say, "Well, you can't tell your dreams." I say, but you can share parts of it, right?
that's right. That's
Share
right.
parts of it that can connect people to it,
Hello.
because being in here doesn't get it nowhere.
It
Just
doesn't.
like an idea is, people say, "I don't want to tell my idea." Well, I say your idea is not worth anything, right now. Well, that's my intellectual property. Oh, I need to patent an idea. I said, unfortunately, you can't patent something that doesn't exist. You have to put it
Put it
into
out there.
motion and
Put it
create an actual
mm,
product for this thing to have some type of validity around it. Yes.
yes. Oh,
Yeah.
this has been the best
Oh, appreciate it.
57 minutes. And I want you to take 30 seconds to share an encouraging word to someone out there who
Mm.
is thinking about walking in their purpose, whatever it might be, whether it's film or something else. Encourage
So,
them.
encouraging word. And I posted this the other day, but I said there's a millionaire in every mind.
Mm,
It really is. There's a
wow.
millionaire in every mind. Like we have that same potential.
Yes, we
Money,
do.
money is something that is made up, but we got to have it in this world,
Yeah.
right? And you have the ability to create. You have the ability to foster. And so the word that I would say, hey, utilize your talents. And if you don't have those talents, find a way to employ and hire the people who have the talents to help execute your vision. You ain't got to do any work. And I think 50 Cent was like, hey, I ain't go to Harvard, but five other people who worked for me did. Right.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's
yes,
what you got to do.
yes. That's what you have to do. I think I mentioned to you that I'm getting ready to have a conversation with a PR firm,
Yes.
and that's because they specialize in something that I need to take me to another level.
Yes. Oh, big time. Big time. And if you're not ready for it, because the next level is not defined by people always say, well, they pay you for the next level, like you're paying yourself for the next level. And what the next level is, it's basically stuff that you're being paid in advance for stuff you've never encountered that you had to deal with.
Yes,
That's what it is. And that's what leadership is. And I define leadership as managing people you don't pay,
I
right?
love it.
A leader, anybody can lead people that they pay because they're obligated to follow you. But when there's no obligation back towards you, it's how you treat people by the ones you don't pay and how they respond to you. And that's a leader. You
Mm,
may not like, you may not be loved, but a servant shows up to lead in their own way.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Likewise, likewise.
And to the audience, I hope that you all enjoyed this conversation with Bob McKay and that you will follow him on all of his social media platforms. You will go to his website. You will take advantage of his product, the Yoni Clip.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yes.
Video clip. Make sure you do that. And then let me add one more thing, if I
Mhm.
may. because
Yes.
I know there's probably a lot of people who have dreams. Hey, I'm here to connect with people. Please connect with me. Make it happen, Bob, on Instagram, on Facebook. If they follow you, they're connected to me. So send the request. But when we think about what we want to do, and people say, I have so many ideas, it's nothing wrong with those. But let me say this:
Mhm.
everything you birth, you must feed, right? So everything you birth, you must feed. So you got to figure out how much mental food you have left to give to that thought, how much servant food you have left to give to that, how much intellectual property, that mentality, the energy you have left. So everything you birth, you must feed. So everything's not meant to be birthed in one season. It's not.
Woo.
You can, but remember, you got to feed it as well as soon as you birth it.
And do we have the capacity to
Oh,
feed so many things at one time?
yeah,
In
that
most
mental.
cases, no.
Yeah, yeah. Even Facebook knew they had to have data centers, right?
Yes.
That Facebook doesn't. When you look at the corporation, when you say, "Oh, I want to go to the Facebook office," they don't have the offices, right? They have data centers. They have place that stores information,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
that's what we have to
Yes.
do. We
Yes.
have to have certain places where we store certain information. It
Yes.
can't be all in one place. It can be
Yes.
at different people, and they may not know they're just the data center for this season.
I love it. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Thank you. You hold tight. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in to our first episode of 2023. There's more to come. Please tune in for our next episode, which is February 9th. I am going from a weekly show to a bi monthly show.
Okay.
So we will have two shows a month. And I just want to thank everyone for your support from April 16th, 2020 until today and beyond. So, you guys have an amazing rest of your evening. And remember, I love you, but God loves you most. He loves you best. Peace, love, joy today and always. Stay encouraged, beautiful people. Bob, hold tight.
Yes, ma'am.